We are going to look at the first half a little bit in depth of Ma Yedidus. Ma Yedidus first appeared in print in Hey Shin Hey, so the year 1545. So it's at least 470 years old or so. The author's name is obviously Menachem because it's spelled out in the verses. Exactly who it was, more than that, we do not know. In the Sefer Sod Shoresh Avodah, it says that not only are mitzvahs an obligation on us, but they're a source of contentment. And we can see this much more in the mitzvah of Shabbos than in any other mitzvah, perhaps. So it starts, Ma Yedidus menuchaseich. How beloved is your rest? Meaning, there is a closeness here, a specialness. A dode is an uncle, viewed as somewhat a great relative, because the uncle doesn't have to discipline you at all, right? He just gets to play with you. So there's a special attachment there, that a belovedness, a yedid, a beloved friend, yedid nafshi, the beloved of my soul. At Shabbos Hamalka, the Shabbos queen, the way you address the king often is through the queen. So the way, since Hashem is beyond our comprehension, the way we can approach a relationship with God is through the Shabbos. Bechen narutz likraseich. Therefore, we will run to greet you. Boichala nesucha. Come the Shabbos princess. There's a famous Gemara in Shabbos Daf Kuf Yud Tes that Rabbi Chanina would wrap himself in a talis and he would go out Erev Shabbos and he would say, Bo v'neitzei likra Shabbos malkasa. Go, let us greet the Shabbos queen. Rabbi Yanai would dress in the special clothing, and he would say, Boi chala, come the bride, which is, of course, become part of Lecha Dodi, written after this summer. There's a special idea of going out to greet Shabbos. We don't wait for Shabbos to come, where there's a mitzvah to bring it in early. It's a way for us to show our love for Shabbos and our caring about it, meaning when there's someone you love, you want to go find them. You don't want to wait around doing nothing until they show up. Livosh bigdei chamodos, dressed in the most desired clothing, that there's a halacha that we have special garments for Shabbos. Or Simcha Wasserman, when he was escaping Russia, he saw Soviet Russia. He saw for the first time Jews that had garments that they wore only for Shabbos. It's a special thing, just for Shabbos. It's the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to have garments that we set aside. We only use these garments on Shabbos. You should have a shirt set aside for Shabbos. Pants, or a suit set aside. These are for Shabbos, not for weekdays, not for anything else. V'teichel kol havodus, and we finish our work. Lo sasu malacha. We will not do any work. We finish what we have to do, so therefore on Shabbos we don't have to do any malacha. They would have 6 tekiyos blown Erev Shabbos to tell people when it was time to stop. We, in Yerushalayim, we have the air raid sirens go off to tell people it's time to light candles, right? There's special ways of getting ready. And we don't wait till the last minute, right? We know early. We stop doing malacha before Shabbos actually begins. There are different reasons given. The Aruch HaShulchan was very makbi to always daven Kabbalah Shabbos at the first possible moment, to Plag Mincha. Summer, winter, didn't matter. And there are two explanations given. One is he was in love with Shabbos. He wanted to have Shabbos as long as possible, from the first possible moment. The other, it's a little more mundane, that when he arrived in Nevardik, a lot of the Balabatim worked. The Parnassa was hard. They would work until the last minute, maybe even into Shabbos. And so he started having the minyanim for Kabbalah Shabbos early. Long after he passed away, they would say in Lithuania, where the minhag was like Rabbeinu Tam, meaning candle lighting is about 30 minutes after sunset. But in the Vardik, long before that, they had more than an hour and a half before that, they would have accepted Shabbos and begun Shabbos. They would say in the Vardik that the rest of Lithuania is in Lechadodi, and we've already finished our meal and gone back to the Beis Medrash to learn. A love of Shabbos, wanting to get as much as you can out of Shabbos. Lehisaneg b'sanugim, one should have the greatest enjoyments. Barbarim, uslav v'dagim, ducks, quails, and fish. Some people say that barbarim here really isn't referring to ducks, it's referring to chickens. Although he also uses tarnagolim mefutamim, fattened chickens, as well in the Zemer, so I don't know why he would use this word here for that. Some people claim that Ashkenazim at the time, at least in Ashkenaz itself, didn't have proper mesores to the kashrut of ducks. That seems to me very difficult. I don't know. Me'erev mazminim kol minei matamim. From before the evening, we prepare all types of good, tasty foods. As the Gemara says, erev Shabbos yesh lo ma le'echol lev Shabbos. The one who prepares before Shabbos, he has what to eat on Shabbos. Long before it was dark, the fattened chickens were cooked. Everything was ready. Set on many types of things. They would eat spiced wine. The Beis Yaakov says that in the time of Chazal, the spiced wine was the best wine. Now, really, according to Rambam, you can't use it for Kiddush, because you can only use a wine for Kiddush that could be poured as a libation on the altar. But that still, might have other types of things during the meal, not necessarily for Kiddush. And we should obviously enjoy good wine on Shabbos, or whatever other drinks we find to be most pleasing to us. The Mata Yehuda says, because of this problem of spiced wines not being fit for the altar, and so not being able to use for Kiddush, says Mufasamim refers to all the various things we were talking about, the various types of food we're having, all the assorted dishes of Shabbos, the chicken, everything else that we've got. All of this will be spiced, and spices were often expensive, and so they wouldn't be used during the weekday. They would be saved, special for Shabbos. We should have things on Shabbos that we don't have at other times. V'saf nuke ma'adanim, we will spoil ourselves with treats, good foods, b'chol shalosh pamim, all 3 meals on Shabbos. Now, there's a debate in the Gemara on Shabbos Daf Kuf Yud Zayin between Rabbi Chidka and Rabbi Yochanan as how many meals there are on Shabbos. They both darshan the same pasuk, It says, Yom Rosh Achlu Hayom Ki Shabbos Hayom Hayom Lo Simtza'u B'Sadeh. He says that eat today because Shabbos is today. Today you won't be filled in the field. So the word Hayom, today, occurs 3 times in the pasuk. So Reb Chidka says it's 3 meals we have on Shabbos, and we have another meal, 3 meals we have on Shabbos day, and another meal we have to have at night. Rabbi Yochanan says the 3 meals include the meal Shabbos night, which is in fact the halacha. Rabbi Shimon ben Pazi says, in the name of Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, in the name of Bar Kapara, that whoever enjoys his 3 meals on Shabbos will be saved from 3 different disasters. Mechavle Mashiach, from the birth pangs of Mashiach, which there's a debate among the Tanaim. It's going to be so horrible. Should we see it or not see it? Meaning, is it better to live through it, to be able to see Mashiach, or is it going to be so horrible that it's better not to live at that time or not? It's a Gemara at the end of the Sanhedrin. Midina shel Gehenim, you'll be saved from being judged in Gehenim if you're careful about always having your 3 meals on Shabbos. And from the war of Gog and Magog, when, if you read in Yecheskel, you see the huge casualties and the great destruction that it will bring to the world, to the Jewish people. And then we have the refrain, Hisaneg B'sanugim, that we should enjoy our various special things on Shabbos, barburim, uslav, vidagim, ducks, quail, and fish. Nachalas Yaakov Yirash, the inheritance of Yaakov we will inherit, bli mitzarim nachala, an inheritance without borders. So the Gemara points out that the area described as being given to Avram and Yitzchak the Torah defines the borders of Eretz Yisrael with them. There's a set region that this is. However, when Hashem promises Eretz Yisrael to Yaakov, he doesn't give any borders. It can spread out even more. Based upon this, I think it's based upon this, the Gemara in Shabbos Daf Kuf Yud Ches says, Amar Rabbi Yochanan B'Shum Rabbi Yossi, that Rabbi Yochanan says in the name of Rabbi Yossi, Kol Ha'aneg es Shabbos Nostim Lo Nachala B'li Mitzarim. Anyone who makes the Shabbos enjoyable, who makes his special foods for it, things that the people enjoy eating, making it special, he will receive an inheritance without borders. Shanamaris, it says, Az Tisnagal Hashem, then he will rejoice with God or about God, and I will ride you on the highest of places. Vichabduhu ashir v'rash, and the wealthy and the poor will honor it. V'sisku l'geula, and they will merit redemption. The Asher and Rash, the wealthy and poor, are perhaps a hint to the idea that we have by tradition that Im Yisrael Shamru Shtei Shabbosos Miyad Hen Nigali. If the Jewish people would keep 2 consecutive Shabboses, they would be immediately redeemed. Yom Shabbos Im Tishmoru. If you will keep the Shabbos day, or if you will honor the Shabbos day, Vayisem Li Segula, and you will be my chosen people. You will be special to me. Sheshes Yamim Tavodu, for 6 days you will work. Uviyom Hashvi'i Nagila, on the 7th day you will rejoice, meaning you can really only appreciate rests when you know what work is. There's an idea that I've seen many places that Talmidei Chachamim don't have to learn on Shabbos. They can relax, whatever. Whereas people that don't have a chance to learn, they should be learning on Shabbos. There has to be a change. The way you walk on Shabbos, the way you think on Shabbos, the way you do other things on Shabbos has to be different than what you do other times. And of course, my Rebbe Zitzal Rav Druckman used to give, as long as even after he couldn't, even after he wasn't healthy, 10 shirim on Shabbos. That was his rejoicing. He would give more shirim on Shabbos than any other day. So that was his special way of rejoicing, because he cared more. Although he was completely devoted to anything that was connected to Havas Hashem, to a mitzvah of Hashem, he was extremely devoted to chinuch, to educating the next generation. There's much to be said about that, but not in the shir on Shabbos Zmiros. We will, Be'ezras Hashem, do the second half of Ma Yedidus for next week.